This podcast may contain views and opinions which are those of the hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any local agency, organization, union, employee, or company, including the podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to ask you guys to please hit that like button and subscribe. We're back again this week, and we have some guests. We promised you guys that we're going to bring you some guests. So before anything, let's do how we always start the show off with the big cheers. Salud. All right, everybody, without further ado, we'll get right into it. And I want to introduce, we have Al Burgess. He's a recording secretary, shop steward out of our local here, 952. And we have Shahab here out of OCTA, also as a shop steward. And these are our guests for the week. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Thank you for being on.
Thank you. So let's just jump right into it. We kind of want to know a little about both of you. My phone's not off, obviously. It's going off. Al, can you tell us where you come out of, how you got into the union? Give us some insight about who Al is.
Sure. Al Burgess, OCTA shop steward, recording secretary for Local 952. Actually, I came out of the rental car industry, 15 years as a city manager for National Car Rental, general manager for U-Haul. I actually been a Teamster for about 24 years now. My first introduction to Teamsters was with Budget Rent-A-Car. And now I'm here in Orange County working for Orange County Transportation Authority.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that Hertz was unionized.
Actually, majority of the car rental companies are unionized, but
Really?
I was with Budget. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So. And were they Teamsters or?
We were Teamsters, yes.
Right on,
We
right
were
on.
Teamsters.
Right on.
Okay.
And Shahab?
So Shahab, shop steward at Teamsters. Before I came here, I worked with hotels by Disney. I was a front desk supervisor. And I'm also one of the trainers at OCTA.
Okay.
And I'm glad to be part of the Teamsters. I had the pleasure of working with Al and Charles and Robert. As you all know, during the pandemic, we had a lot of challenges, especially the mask. At the beginning, we were not authorized to use the mask while driving the buses. So our leader, Eric Jimenez, and the rest of the team, they made it happen. They went out there and they bought a whole bunch of masks, and they came to the bases and they distributed them to the driver. So we're very proud of them for what they did.
Nice.
Right on, right on.
Right on.
So let's kind of jump into this. I mean, Al, you and Shahab here both come out of OCTA. And for a while now, we've been talking on the show how we wanted to bring OCTA in, kind of know what's going on. Obviously, that we had the operators strike, right, and the drivers. And then just recently, we had the mechanics. So can you just kind of touch on that? Because we've been dying to get somebody on here from OCTA and kind of get into this.
One of the things, guys, is, when it came to the operators, it was a tough fight, but, this new administration stepped up to the plate. They allowed us as stewards and the operators to be able to go out there and fight for what we want. They didn't put a cap on us. They allowed us to do what we wanted to do, and that was huge for us. Ever since we've gotten that contract, again, I've been there 18 years, probably by far the best contract we've seen in over 20 years.
Wow.
Wage increases, no changes in the pension, health care, great contract overall. When it comes to the mechanics, it was a little struggle, but they were able to achieve what they were looking for. Pension increases, wage increases, and most importantly, they got some relief on the health care, which was hitting them really hard.
Well, let's back up a little bit. So let me ask you this, Al. Lead us up to what was going on during the talks. How long did this administration and OCTA, because I know some of it, obviously it was out there with you guys, supporting you guys on the strike line, but how long did it take? You guys started bargaining, how many months prior?
Usually the way it happens at OCTA is we never really start on time. We always end up probably with about a year extension. So, we've had numerous talks One of the biggest things during this negotiations was the fact that we wanted to make it an issue that we start contract negotiations on time and not delay this, because we're tired of going a year out with no contract and getting a little measly extension and a little measly raise. So something, going forward, we're not interested in that. We're interested in starting on time. But this didn't drag out as per se as most negotiations do drag out with OCTA. It was lengthy, but not as lengthy as some of the other contract talks that we've ever had.
If I may add, I'm very proud of the First Transit drivers and the mechanics for backing us up and supporting the strike, because a lot of people thought, oh, this is two different companies, they're not going to come together, but under the leadership of our Teamsters, Eric Jimenez and the rest of the e-board, we were able to get everybody involved. And this has never happened before, because we did have a strike like about 20 years ago, and unfortunately the previous administration, they allowed the mechanics to go to work. It was a coach operators strike.
Oh, okay.
So that's ridiculous. How are you going to have the mechanics for servicing the buses? And some of our managers, they are actually licensed to drive. They have Class B.
Okay.
So some of the routes were covered, which was ridiculous. Yeah. But this time was different. I mean, I understand this is the first time this administration has had a strike, but it was fantastic. It was organized, and a lot of people got involved, and a lot of business agents, including yourself. I saw you in the picket line. So that's what we need. We need a strong leadership. And that's what this strike was very successful. And we also got a lot of politicians involved, a lot of the congressmen, a lot of...
Well, not only that, I feel it's important because we're all Teamsters, no matter what industry that you're in.
Absolutely.
And I think it's hard for some of these young members that are coming in who are not educating themselves or having any mentors to guide them to show the importance of what it's like to stand together no matter what industry you're in.
That's right.
At the end of the day, we need to stand behind one another and support each other to be able to get what we want and improve our family and our livelihoods.
This is where initially when we first started this podcast, we wanted to reach out to the membership. Kind of started off a little bit as a UPS thing since we came out of UPS. And then we realized, you know what, this is a Teamster show. We are all Teamsters. And one of our goals that we really have really been trying to do is to get everybody that's out of Local 952 to come on the show, because we're all together, all of us.
Of course.
Right? It's not just UPS. It's not just OCTA. It's not just CVS. It's all of us as Teamsters as one.
I agree.
So, Al, I know that right before we went on the strike line, there was one thing, correct me if I'm wrong, that was holding up this whole thing as far as what we wanted out of OCTA. And that was, I believe it was the health care, right?
For the mechanics?
No, for the operators.
For the operators, we had a couple of different things that was holding things up, namely the wages, because OCTA they put together a proposal where it had stipulations tied to it. And if certain stipulations were met, we could see more of an increase than what they offered in the original proposal, but it wasn't guaranteed. And so a lot of people didn't feel too comfortable about that. Now, from what I understand and what I was told and explained to today, is that we probably would have met those thresholds, and we probably would have got an extra 2% on each of the 3 years that we were looking for. But, some you win, some you lose. We still got a decent contract. Everybody was happy with it, and we're looking forward to the upcoming negotiations in the next 10 months.
Right on. Nice. And I know that the difference this time coming into negotiations was you actually had committee members that were rank and file.
Yes.
Right? That was something huge.
Made a huge difference because this administration really did not understand, and since I'm part of the executive board, I could tell you this administration really had no experience when it came to dealing with transportation, the transit industry. So it was very important to have stewards or coach operators there who had knowledge, who knew what the employees wanted, and for us to be able to go in there and show, our administration what it is exactly that we're fighting for, what's more important for us.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one thing I'm proud of is the administration again, and also
The audio here got cut out. I apologize for the inconvenience.
1 15-minute break in our schedule guaranteed. So that's not a break. That
Right.
is if the bus is late, you have enough time to turn around.
Okay.
So, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
It's 2023 and we don't have a bathroom time, you don't have a lunch time. So this administration was able to fight for it. And we told them at the beginning, that's going to be an issue. So you guys need to address that. We told that to OCTA. And we were able to accomplish that. We have a new article in the contract that addresses that.
Yeah, things aren't perfect. We're still dealing with some issues,
absolutely.
but it's a lot better than what it was before, Sabas.
Absolutely.
Right.
So if you
on.
guys didn't have a lunch or breaks during the day, so exactly how would you plan that out? You only wait till the very
So
end?
basically, the way it's written is in the contract, the recovery time is used so you can go take your lunch break or go use the bathroom.
So they want you to
They
do
want
all
you-
that and turn the bus
But
around.
they state that the recovery time is for the bus only. It's not really dedicated.
So the
Yes.
the bus has to use the bathroom then, not you.
Jokingly, yes. Jokingly, the bus needs a rest.
Yeah.
But essentially, like he stated, if we're late, that adds another dynamic to the issue. I mean, it's better than what it was before. We're still dealing with some of those issues. And this is one of those things. Sometimes we got to do what we got to do.
How long does it take to plan out a whole new schedule to add your guys' breaks and lunches throughout the day?
Well, you know what? Like he was elaborating too with the 15-minute guaranteed break. Since the negotiations, we're still waiting for that to be implemented because they hired a third-party company to create the software to do this. So, it's still a work in progress.
okay.
So we're still waiting right now.
Okay.
But you guys' foot is in the door, and
Yes.
so huge changes. And obviously, both of you guys have been around for a long time with OCTA. And I just want to ask you this: we ask a lot of the membership that come on here, whether it's we've had CVS and a little bit of Albertsons, but what is the difference that you see in your view, in your opinion, with this new administration compared to the old administration?
Well, you know what, Sabas, I could tell you firsthand, I was a little apprehensive when they came to me to ask me to be a part of the executive board. Essentially, I did not want any real responsibility because I didn't know them.
Right.
They were from other industries.
Right.
But then again, I like the message that I heard from Eric. I like the message that I heard from John and Danny. I got involved to make a change, because I got tired of seeing the old administration that we have fall on deaf ears when we made proposals, not return your phone calls, only come around when they wanted money or they wanted votes. And, that doesn't fly with me.
Yeah.
This is a new administration that we have now. They'll pick up the phone. They'll come to the bases. They'll come to your yards. They're front and center. You can find us stewards anywhere. Absolutely. Everybody has access to our phone numbers, our business agent. Nobody's running away from anything. Again, as Teamsters, we can all agree to disagree sometimes. We're never
Right.
going to be totally in agreement. That's what about having these type of relationships are about. Right. You might bring something to the table that I may not see and open my eyes to something different. I'm very appreciative of what we have and what we're building right now. And, my other brother who's going to step in here, who's a trustee that we're going to bring in as a guest, he'll tell you, we went to our leadership training classes not that long ago, and we have a lot of new ideas that we're floating around that we want to build this local like some of the other locals and make this something that we're proud of.
Like Eric says, 952 is a powerhouse now, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And to follow up what Al said, because I was a shop steward under the old administration. And every time we had a contract, we always gave up a lot of stuff. But with this new administration, we're gaining a lot of things that we lost. Another thing I like is the general membership meetings, because we used to have general memberships on
Vastly improved.
Wednesday nights.
Wednesday
Yep.
nights, no
7
one would show
p.m.
up.
Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at it, the union hall is full. A lot of people have to, stand outside.
Stand
So
outside,
that
yeah.
shows leadership.
That's right.
And that you guys care about all the members, not just OCTA, but all the members.
We have
I
more.
appreciate that.
We have probably the best participation that we've ever had in the last
Absolutely.
20 years.
I can attest to that. I've been in this local since '98. I came in on Wednesday nights, and there was about 15 of us, and I never seen a general membership meeting like I've seen now. And that's just That's no knock on anybody. It's just what it is.
You know what, Sabas, and I think we all can agree here. A lot of us, no matter what industry we come from, we were all clamoring for change and new blood, young, energetic blood. You have a young e-board that's very diverse, okay? Yeah, I'm from Transit. My other guy that you're going to meet here is from Transit, but you know what? We're for everybody.
Right.
No matter where you come from. So, you know, it speaks for itself.
It does. The leadership itself, from Eric to John to Danny, I mean, I got to say, it's very diverse than what it was.
Oh, yeah.
Another thing I want to mention is Eric brought all the shop stewards close to each other. Like, for example, myself, Al, Robert Bennett, and Desiree, you know, and the rest of the shop stewards, we communicate. We learn from Eric. That's the only way you could succeed. To get together, put your minds together. Don't be divided. That's what I feel it used to be before under the old administration. So that's just great what we have accomplished.
And like Al said, we're still going to have disagreements, right?
Absolutely.
That's
At times.
natural. That's natural.
And
As long as you're respectful, you know, you respect each other, that's okay.
you come to the union hall and you talk about those disagreements,
Right.
right? I mean, we never want to, you know, go against another Teamster brother or sister.
Hey, we may look like thugs, but we're actually not thugs.
The operators, you guys went on strike. I remember I was there. We were on the strike line.
Who are we? Teamsters. What do we want? Contract. When do we want it? Now.
George was participating in that. How many barns do we have here that we represent?
For OCTA, you have Santa Ana base, which is base 1, and then you have Garden Grove base, which is base 4. Those are the two directly operated bases for OCTA. And then for our contracted side, we have base 7 in Irvine, and then we have base 6 in Anaheim, which is where the contractor operates out of.
Okay. I don't know if you have the exact number. How many operators are there?
Roughly between Garden Grove and Santa Ana, which are the directly operated bases, there's roughly close to 600 operators.
Okay.
So 300 and something at Santa Ana, then high 2s at Garden Grove.
Okay.
And then at the contractor, I want to say it's probably close to 300 operators, roughly.
Yeah, that was a huge impact. I mean, I remember.
We shut the county down.
Yeah, we shut the county down. And then it was kind of, you know, when I thought about it, I was like, you know, I knew nothing about OCTA, right? Because going back to what I was talking about, none of us were really united as, you know, as a local. Never knew anybody outside of UPS, you know.
It's changing now.
It's changing, right? But my understanding is right after you guys settled that contract, was how many months later did we get to the mechanics? Was it a few months, right?
Yeah, about 5-6 months.
5-6 months.
6 months.
And I remember thinking, like, did OCTA not fucking learn something?
You know what? I'll be honest, Sabas. Being that we are a new administration, and Shahab can attest to this too, going through negotiations, they were testing us. You know, and I'll be honest, one of the Zoom meetings that we had with OCTA, they forgot to turn off their microphone.
Oh,
Really?
And so we're sitting there listening to them talk. And, you know, what was Beth? Number 2 or number 3
number
in charge?
2,
Something like that. And she's telling her whole staff on their side, oh, Lord, we're going to need prayers to get through this shit. And we all started laughing because you know what? Yeah.
What a great feeling
Yes.
that was to hear, though, right?
Very great feeling. You
That's
know
great.
what? When I met Frank Sevilla, who was our coordinator and our lead negotiator, I was impressed with his attitude.
Frank's a pit bull, man.
You know what? Frank doesn't back down. Every day was like going to the movies and eating popcorn, waiting to see what was going to transpire, like a fly on the wall. But you know what? We've had our dealings with Frank back and forth, you know, where he might have felt strongly in one area. We felt, you know, strongly in another area. And, you know, that's natural.
Right.
But, you know, Frank was the right guy for the right time for us, you know, and it was a blessing.
One thing I want to mention, Frank kept all the shop stewards informed. He communicated with us. He never kept us in the dark. That's one thing that we need to mention. Yeah,
A lot
he
of
was honest,
transparency,
you know.
yeah.
We didn't have that with the old
We didn't have that
administration.
before. Absolutely.
Closed mouth, closed door.
Yeah.
We didn't hear any information. Just to give you an example, When we were on strike in 2007, Sabas, we get a phone call or a text telling us we can go back to work. We don't remember voting on anything. We don't remember seeing a final offer or what they settled on. We got screwed. One day before we were supposed to earn strike pay, we accept. And we were like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
It was bad. It was bad. I knew it was bad. I didn't know how bad it was until I got on the e-board and I started to see things in black and white for myself.
Wow. That's kind of sounds like, George, the story we heard from our brother over there. And where was he out of CVS that said he had to send his grievances here to the hall certified mail.
Oh, Gary. That's Gary Brockett.
If you guys haven't checked out that show,
check out that episode with Gary Brockett.
Oh, Gary from CVS.
From CVS.
Yeah, he was telling us, a story about that, on how he had to deal with just simply filing the grievance.
Yeah.
So
They wouldn't, his shop steward wouldn't accept his grievances, so he would send them there.
The way we write our grievances and the way it was done before, it's a total difference. Before under the old administration, I don't put too much on there, kind of leave it vague and blank, but just copy this, what we have posted here. It's totally, things are done totally different now. It's more professional.
And I got to say, I was a steward with the old administration out of UPS out here in Anaheim, and it was the same thing. I never sat in a grievance meeting with my grievances that I filed. Never knew what happened with them. But when I came in to be a business agent here, and the training the way Eric wanted things done, right? And I didn't know that as a steward, you're supposed to sit on your grievances.
Well, you know what?
I didn't know that.
We never had that opportunity until this administration came in, where we could actually be a part of it and not just be sitting around considered paper pushers.
Right.
And that was something that was frustrating to us.
I get it. And moving forward, right? Look at where we're at now. Yeah. For a long time, I think a lot of us that have been around for a long time in this local see the difference that's going on now. And I want to continue to move forward, and continue to do. This is why we're doing this whole show. Is that so we can better inform our membership?
Better inform the membership, boost the morale of the membership. One of the things I'd probably also offer as a suggestion is to give these guys some knowledge, because you know what? Just to give you an example, when we went through our issue with the supporting the mechanics, and from the contractor side and our side, a lot of members coming in there looking for their strike checks, Sabas, and them not knowing that they weren't paying dues or they weren't current on their dues, not knowing that they were supposed to fill out a withdrawal card.
Right.
Nobody teaches these guys that. They don't have no leadership, no mentor, and that's something that we need to be able to go moving forward and educate these guys. Have some seminars to educate these guys. Get them more involved.
And we've done a lot of seminars for the stewards. I've been here. I've seen I think one day we had 200 plus stewards here, right?
Huge turnout.
And you're right. That's something that we could all work on, right? There's plenty of room to grow in all aspects, right? But going back to the strike, we get through the operators. 6 months later, we're here with the mechanics, right?
Yep.
And that went to, touch on that, because I'm not even really too sure what happened or what transpired with that.
The biggest thing for the mechanics contract was the health care. And these poor guys, I believe, were paying, $320? $320 a month for whether you're single, married, one dependent, married, no matter how many dependent, everybody paid the same rate.
Yeah. Expensive.
And, when you don't get a nice wage increase to kind of offset that, it becomes a problem.
Right.
Inflation's up, everything's more expensive now. These poor guys, they're having a hard time just like we are and everybody else.
Right.
So that was a huge thing for them. Of course, everybody wants better wages, better health care. But that was something that really needed to be addressed, was the health care for them. That was the main sticking point.
That's huge.
That, and also the pension increases. Okay. Because, just as with the operators, when it comes to the Western Teamster pension plan,
right?
I believe the mechanics is $1.34 an hour that's contributed.
It's pretty
and
low.
For the operators, it's $1.13 an hour. So since we've both been here, we have not had any pension increases.
More than 20 years.
Exactly. Yeah. So, that was a huge, huge issue. They came to an agreement on that where they decided to put their own money towards it, and I could respect that. I probably would have did something differently, but, that's what they wanted. That's what they got. They're happy with it.
That's good. That's awesome. I know I was thinking, man, we're going to go through this ride again with and we were out there for you guys,
Contract. No peace. No contract. No peace. No contract. No peace. No contract. No peace.
We were all out
Well,
there.
think about it, Sabas. Myself, Eleazar, the other trustees that sit on the board, I'd say by far OCTA is the lowest contributing employer when it comes to the Western Conference Teamster Pension Plan. While CVS, ABF, UPS, and all these Albertsons, anywhere between $5 to $11 an hour.
I didn't even know you guys were part.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we have OSERS, which is our main retirement. But again, there's 2 tiers now for OSERS.
Yeah, really?
Okay, so, myself and Shahab, we're never going to see what these tier 1 guys who just retired make when it comes to retirement. Essentially, the Western Conference Teamster Pension Plan is primarily going to be there to help supplement our medical expenses when we do retire. So it's important for us to try to get more contributions into that because healthcare costs are going to keep continuing to rise.
Absolutely.
We don't have medical retirement. That's something that we would like to get, and we're going to continue to try for that.
Wow.
Definitely.
I didn't know that either.
Yes.
Yeah.
We tried in
We
the
tried
last
the last
contract, but they
negotiations.
turned it down. OCTA turned it
We tried to be creative. You say, hey, you know what? Instead of covering the employee plus a spouse, why don't you just cover the employee? They said no. Then we came back and said, okay, why don't we make it a bridge gap to where when they're on Medicare, then, we'll bridge it, and then to save the company some money. They still said no. We're not going to stop.
Well, I think a lot of people don't understand, and that when you go into negotiating a contract, you don't get everything.
No, you
the
don't.
first
But
time
I'll be
around,
honest. With this team that we had, and everybody played a vital part, no matter what anybody says, we did not give away anything but 3 minutes out of a 5-minute grace period. We actually got pretty much everything we wanted without the exception of the medical retirement.
I mean, you guys are just setting the stepping
We set
stone.
the tone.
Yeah.
We set the tone.
Right.
They wanted to take away, we have an incentive program for showing up to work. If you show up 150 days in a row, your schedule, and you don't call in sick, they will pay you 1 day's pay.
Really?
They wanted to remove that, and we told them it's going to mess up the attendance policy because people would be encouraged to call in sick.
Right.
That's incentivizing people to come in. So if you
Exactly.
take that away, it's like, well,
Yeah.
And
including myself. I have 288 hours of sick time.
And I'll be honest right now, we still have challenges, but one of the main challenges that we're having right now, Sabas, is we don't, they won't say it, but it's mandatory overtime because
Right.
we're shorthanded operators.
Right.
We're probably, down 90, 80 operators,
yeah,
and then
we did
probably another
almost
80,
100
90
drivers,
on disability workers'
Right,
comp.
right.
So you're overworking these operators, and a majority of our operators stay in the IE, Riverside, San Bernardino County.
Right.
We can't afford Orange County yet.
Yeah, I got you. I get it.
So the problem is you're driving home and to work, hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on traffic. Then you're out here driving another 8 to 15 hours because if you're on the extra board, they can hold you up to 15 hours. You can't drive no more than 10. It's a long-ass day,
it's a long
Absolutely.
day.
Maybe we can get some 9-5 language in there for them. Like
these-
we have.
need
a-
something.
Yeah, I need something.
We have a 9-5 language in our contract at UPS. Kind of going back to the attendance policy, and Allison, sure on the e-board, can we get that for the BAs here? Because we never get a day off.
You know what? This is this job here, when you transition to the union side, is a thankless job, and you work a lot of hours on your own.
Yeah,
It's something that we dedicate and we do because we like what we do.
absolutely. So it's a way of life, like we've talked about. We get through the mechanics. Let me get back to. So I know that there's something going on that you guys are going to be combining together. The companies are.
Well, right now, from my understanding, when it comes to that First Transit, and correct me if I'm wrong, my brother over here, they lost the bid on the contract. So there's going to be another company that bidded on the contract that's going to be coming in. I know Ruben's having a hard time where whoever comes in may not adopt the same language or whatever and give him a hard time when it comes to bargaining and certain things that we have in place now. He's having a hard time with negotiations for the access paratransit drivers. They're asking for our support. And, I think would be crucial for the contractor, ourselves, to stand up and fight for these guys, because you know what? It takes a special person to do that job. You're dealing with people with disabilities all day, wheelchairs.
Right.
You know, it's a hard job. I probably wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I get it, because
They're severely underpaid.
and they're taking care of a lot of the people that need a lot of help out here.
That's
What
right.
company is taking over?
It could be Keolis, it could be Transdev, it could be MV. We don't know yet.
I'd like to get into what I seen and a lot of us seen was during both strikes for the mechanics and operators, people who cross the strike line.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And what I'd like to do is kind of hold off on that until we bring our other brother in to sit down with us and kind of talk about
Definitely.
what transpires and what consequences come with crossing the strike line.
There's consequences.
There's consequences.
You have to set an example, because if you don't, next time we have another strike, people are going to say, oh, I'm just going to stay home and the union is going to pay me. No.
But you know what? I think it also goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is you got to remember we have a lot of young members. And there's only so many of us to be able to mentor these guys and educate these guys. And they really have to understand what being a Teamster is all about. Majority of these people don't know that you take an oath. Majority of these people never been sworn in, like we got sworn in a couple of weeks ago with Sean O'Brien.
Right.
Mandated by amendments to the IBT Constitution, has been incorporated to local union 952 bylaws. Congratulations, we renewed our oath and our commitment to this union.
We take this very seriously. You know, you got to be able to stand up and fight for what you think you deserve. You know, I get it. You have a lot of older people that are there that are complacent. They're happy. They like the job that they have, and they don't want to rock the boat. But you clearly do not let anybody dictate to you what your worth is.
That's right.
That's what I stand by.
You know, we'll get into it when we bring our brother on, but you know, to reap the benefits when you cross the picket line,
It's wrong.
right?
wrong.
It's wrong,
It's
right?
wrong.
So we'll get into that when we bring our brother on right now. Real quick, Shahab, I want to thank you for coming on today.
My pleasure.
And hopefully we'll have you back on again at another time.
With all the stewards.
With all the stewards.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
would be
yeah.
great.
Sure.
We'll bring all the stewards on.
That would be great.
Any final thoughts? Let us know anything that you want to get out there to the membership. You know, hopefully when this comes out, it'll be out next Friday. You share that with the membership.
It's like we all mentioned, come to the meetings. There are a lot of drivers that they have no idea what takes place at the union hall. So we can only talk to so many people.
Right.
You know, these guys need to come out here, ask questions. You know, what happens to our union dues? You know, participate. And like I said, I'm very proud to be part of the Teamsters, and congratulations on your team.
Podcast.
Yeah, for the podcast. It's a great idea. And also, I support the Teamsters 100%. And, you know, keep on fighting.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
We appreciate you coming on. All right, brothers and sisters, we took a little break. I want to introduce you to Eleazar Baltazar. He is a trustee shop steward coming out of
First Transit OCTA.
First Transit OCTA.
And I'm base 6.
Oh, right on. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I know personally that you've been in this local for many, many years. Can you just rewind and tell us how you came in and how did you get here into this local is what I want to know.
I first started 9 years ago for the contractor, which is MV at that time. I was at Irvine base.
Okay.
Just transpired to move over to Anaheim base. Things were bad. You know, everybody knows how the old administration was. So, you know, things are bad. Our business agent was being overworked at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so we really wanted to leave the union, this local, and go to another one because we felt we weren't being represented properly.
You felt like you weren't being heard.
We weren't being heard. We were being ignored. Like I said, the business agent, it wasn't really his fault. Nothing personal. But
Right. So you start off there. were you a shop steward at the time?
No.
So tell us how you made that decision to become a shop steward. Was it during the time of the old administration, or was it just when the new administration came in? How did that happen for you?
I became a shop steward. I was being asked, hey, you should be a shop steward, and I just kind of never entertained it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, things were so bad that one day, and our barns hated the union, seriously.
Really?
Yeah. So now they're kind of turning, they're looking towards us as a new administration because I got involved.
Things were so bad that you said to yourself, hey, I'm going to step up and I'm going to get involved and I'm going to be a steward for my barn here. Is that what happened?
Well, not really.
Well, tell us.
One day, John and Eric were out there campaigning for the first time to go around when before we first won. Like I said, our guys hated the union. They were kind of like, oh man, the fucking union's here. What the fuck they want?
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
They only come around when there's fucking
votes or the
election.
Yeah.
And I was like, hold on, wait a minute. That don't look like it's the administration that's in office right now.
Right.
Why don't you guys ask them? So me and another gentleman by the name of George Rojas met up with John and Eric. We told them everything what was going on, and we wanted to find out.
Yeah, you wanted to give them the opportunity. Yeah, give them the opportunity to explain what they were going to do and make changes into this local, right? And you heard them out.
We heard them out. John and Eric asked if I wanted to join the board, be a part of the. They needed another guy, and I didn't say yes right away. I had to think about it because I wanted to see how. I really didn't want to get involved to a bigger capacity.
Yeah.
That was just like me. I promised them that I would help them win the election, but I had other things going on, and I really didn't want to get involved and want much responsibility. And again, myself, Eleazar, and the other members, we didn't know each other. We never met each other.
That is the weird thing that I like. I've met you brothers, Sean, Keith, and some of the stories that I've heard from you guys, it just blows me away, right? But so you hear them out, and it's kind of funny how I hear from both of you, or I didn't want to get involved, I didn't want to do anything, and look at you guys are both sitting on the e-board now, right? It's funny how things like that, happen.
And I got sucked into being a shop steward.
There you go, right? and I got to say, I've gotten to know you brothers, over the last few years now that I've been here. And I want to say personally for me, I'm very happy to have you guys on the e-board. I think it just goes with the whole administration being young and fresh and hungry. I've known Eric for a long time, and that guy, he never gave up. And if it wasn't for him, in my opinion, we wouldn't even know each other.
Probably right.
Right?
Probably.
Because we were all on our own little islands, didn't know anything about any other craft, any other barn.
Because they kept everything from us.
Yeah. So, to brothers like yourself that took that position and said, hey, I don't want to get involved, and then you're here, right? So
it's a thankless job, Sabas. It's a lot of responsibility. It's not as easy as people think. Right. My job entails a lot of writing, getting things right, reporting things right, looking, like he said, looking over the financials, make sure things are taken care of. It's just not we sit there and bullshit, because we don't. We have a lot of important decisions to make.
Yeah, I see you guys up there, and, especially you, Al. I go, man, if I was in your position, I would just have a court reporter and, have them do it.
Oh, dude, trust me. I'm still trying to find ways to make my job easier.
Right. So you're now on the e-board. You meet all the other brothers, and you're here. And when you walk in, I mean, what was the feeling? What was the atmosphere for you when you came in? Like, how did you feel? Were you like, shit, did I jump into something I shouldn't have? I mean, I'm just asking, because with that kind of responsibility that you guys have, I would kind of think it would be a little nerve-wracking,
I'll speak first. I think for me, I really wanted to make an impact, make change here because, we have over 9,000 members. And for me, it was very disheartening to see the lack of participation that we have and for these members not to give this new administration the chance that we deserve, to show them that we're not like the old administration, that we're here for them, that we're ready to fight for them, that we're here to make change and bring more positivity to the local.
Did he just say it all for you, Alizar?
You always do. You know what? It's still the same way. We still have a lot to accomplish.
Yeah.
We still have a lot of work to be done, and it's not going to take 1 year, 2 years.
Right.
It's a big mess, and we're slowly, step by step, getting things done.
Right. And you know what, brother? I tell a lot of people, because we experienced it, in UPS, and I tell the membership, I said, look, you got to remember this local was, ran by the same people, for 20 plus years. It's not going to get changed in one term, in 3 years. It could take 20 years to fix what was going on.
That's true.
Right? But I do see the progress. I think everybody that's on the board, from our leadership to our business agents in this local, really truly cares about the membership. And every steward that I've met cares about the membership. I see a lot of people doing extra than I've ever seen in this local. So I think that's a huge difference. And that all starts from the top, right?
Yeah.
And everything kind of goes down. So
it all trickles down.
Yep. So tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, what else you want to know?
Well, you've said so much.
It's the Bud Light.
It's a Bud Light. So you're there. You're on the e-board now. You're your shop steward. What has changed with the company with you being there as a steward, having the backing of the local? Are you guys filing more grievances now? Are they getting resolved? I mean, what is the tone and the atmosphere in your barn? Because I know you said that they hated the union.
Okay, the members at my barn, they're kind of like 50-50 at they're always going to have that mentality about the union. Mm-hmm. The union just takes my money and they don't do shit for us.
Right.
You can't change that. It is what it is. We try and move forward and do our best. As far as grievances go, we don't really keep track of what, our grievances and stuff like that. We have quite a few. Mm-hmm. We're always filing a grievance regarding when it's just a termination. Okay. We kind of cut back on just filing a grievance on every little minute thing. We go to the management, hey, this is our problem, and then they try and fix it.
Okay.
Without filing grievances.
Yeah,
so we have like a little
let me ask
agreement.
This. You're getting more solved by going to management first before having to file a grievance now.
Not soft,
No, I don't think
solved.
Solved. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you said solved.
we know you're soft.
No.
So, do you believe that is the reason why that's happening is because the company knows that this is a different local now, that we're going to come in and we're going to fight and we're going to take care of it? They
try to kind of, get something over us, but, we stay on top of it.
Right on. So what is the biggest problem? There's like seniority violations. Are they trying to turn people there?
Just wrongful terminations.
Okay.
We get them back. I truly believe that the company doesn't fire you. You fire yourself when you do something dumb.
Like we tell the membership, UPS, like, you got to show up to work for one, right?
Yeah.
We deal with a lot of the younger generation coming in, and I can tell you, I sit there and these guys got 100 lates, 25 no-call, no-shows.
But you got to remember, Sabas, we're dealing with a different type of employee
yes.
now with the membership, even in our industry, because, in warehouse, you got EWS standards.
Right.
We have attendance problems at both of our barns. There's so many different variables that contribute to this. Number one, a lot of members, and it goes for every industry, they don't read their contract.
Yeah.
That's number one.
That's true.
Number two, they always want to call a steward and get the quick answer.
Right.
Or they'll call one of their friends that may think they have the answer, but they don't have the answer.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of things that need to be fixed.
Yeah.
You know, these guys need to stop being lazy. They need to educate themselves. We all have great jobs with great benefits. Yes. Why would you mess this up and have to start all over again? But again, the young people that we're hiring now for UPS, CBS, First Transit, OCTA, number one, they don't want to pay their dues like all of us paid our dues. They want weekends off right now. They want the top wage. Mm-hmm. They don't understand the nitpicking. And we have very strict rules at every place that we represent.
That is true.
Yeah.
They want instant right now.
Well, I can tell
Instant
you
gratification.
at our base, it's not like it used to be with the old administration. They're more lenient to the local now. They like our new contract that we just had ratified a few years back.
Right on.
You know, it went from, just put it this way, I started at $12 an hour. We're getting 50 cents. That from 12, I think top pay at that time. Now it's we start at $22 an hour. And the top pay as of July 1st will be 29.
So that's a huge jump. So
they're getting a little happy and they're not, wanting to kill the local.
Yeah. And it's going to take time, right? Because things were so messed up for a long time.
All we can do is keep on climbing.
Yeah, keep on climbing, keep pushing. Let me get into some of the responsibilities that you two have of being on the e-board, and what happens to the members that cross the picket line, and how do you guys as the e-board and as the executive board deal with that? I know that you guys had some hearings today and we'll be having some hearings tomorrow. Can you tell us what happens when members cross the picket line? How does that work?
Well, it depends. It could be from getting a fine to removed from the union. Both.
For every action, there's a reaction.
Right.
So members need to take this seriously. As he stated, it could be a fine for however many days that you cross the picket line. So if you're making $20 an hour and you work 32 hours, there'd be a fine to pay that back to the local, and or get removed or make you a core member, where we take your rights away.
All right, and then bad enough that they're going to have to walk around and be called a scab, right?
The hazing, the scab.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I don't condone that type of behavior because we all have a right to make a living for our family. But then again, the members who do cross have to understand for every action there's a reaction. And, you have your fellow peers and members looking at you, trying to figure out why you're going against them. Everybody's out there taking the same L, and you're showing your peers that your bills are more important than theirs, and it's not right.
Right.
Everybody got mortgages, house payments, car payments,
everyone has
kids,
that.
and family. You just as an adult, you just need to figure out another way to make up that extra money.
Right.
Everybody
what
will
you do.
take a hit.
Everybody takes a hit.
Everybody's taking a hit.
That's right. I'm not afraid to say it. I got alimony and child support, but guess what? My ass was out there on the line. If I had to go do DoorDash, Uber, Lyft, whatever I had to do to make up the extra money, I'm man enough to go do it. I may not like it,
right,
but I understand what I got to do.
Right.
So for anybody to come to me and have that reason why they couldn't do it or I got bills to pay, guess what? We all do.
Right.
It doesn't make yours more important than mine.
Right.
Figure out a way. You're an adult.
Right. Yep. And I think this goes back to the education part where we have to do, all of us,
a better job.
All of us, every single one of us as a union member, and we say this on the show all the time, members come to us and they go, what does the union do for us? And I tell them, you are the union, so what are you doing for yourself?
That's the biggest miscommunication that we have, because once something goes wrong, the union did it.
The union did it.
No. We're your representatives that, push your proposals across the table and negotiate for you. Theoretically, we are all the union. So guess what? We all vote and make this conscious decision.
Right.
So that's where people need to, understand the difference between the two.
Right.
That's the biggest misrepresentation or communication that we have.
And I could say, I could say coming, out of UPS, George and I have been there for a while, and, it took you to go full time 10 years, right?
10 years.
10 years. That was the minimum. I mean, to be a full-time package car driver, to be a feeder driver was 25 years, right?
Paid your dues.
You paid your dues. And now you got guys that are going in 2 years.
2 years.
Right? They're going fast. They didn't pay their dues.
Right. Hard to swallow.
Yeah, and we talked about this last week. You know, we got members coming up to us and going, "I've been here 2 years." Right, and don't knock on them, but it's just like, look, bro.
No clue.
Yeah, you know,
they don't even really know what the job's
still
actually
new.
about.
Right.
You know, you've only been working there for 2 years, and you went from part time to full time in 2 years. You have no idea what the job actually entails.
But look, let's all be honest here. These young folks that come in here, what's the one thing they're looking at, Sabas? They're just looking at the
Yeah.
pay. They're not looking at long-term retirement.
Yeah.
You know, healthcare. They don't think about that stuff, and we need to change that mindset.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have to change the culture, and you know, we say this on the show. It's one member at a time. Invest in yourself. All of you out there listening to this, you know, you have to invest in yourself, and whether that's getting on this podcast or listening to it, coming to a meeting, picking up your contract and reading it, right? Yeah, exactly. Talking to your stewards, okay? You have to get involved. I mean,
get educated.
You got to get educated. We got a huge contract coming up with UPS. And going back to the strike issue that we were talking about, the reason why I wanted to touch on this is because I've heard it, you know, from some of the young guys out there at UPS and going, well, I'll just cross the picket line.
Well, guess what? These two gentlemen sitting on this couch, we'll be sitting right there waiting to have a hearing for you, so you can explain yourself on why you did what you did.
Right.
And you may not like the consequences.
Right.
So what is more likely to happen, that they will have to pay a fine or they will be removed from the local? What is the most
Probably
common?
more than likely a fine, or possibly make them get them to participate a little bit more also as part of the
as a punishment.
Yes. Yeah, we've had discussion about that.
When I was out there on the strike line with you guys, I witnessed myself people crossing the picket line, right? Yeah. So how does that work? Like, we find out who crossed the picket line. You guys notify them. You tell them, hey, to come into the local. And
well, basically what we do is we gather all the information, the dates, the times, the witnesses. As Eleazar stated, you know, we send out a certified letter to home. Then we either hand deliver them a letter in person, or we'll put it in their mailbox to make sure that they got the information, so they can set up a time to come to the local and have the hearing. Or you can call and have it rescheduled if the time doesn't work for you.
Gotcha.
You know, but the main thing is getting in here and sitting down with us and explaining to us your situation.
I mean, that's
I'm gonna tell you today, Sabas, this is our first time going through the hearing process, and it was tough because, you know, some of these guys are our friends.
Right.
But again, you know, they knew what they were doing. They were grown. They made a grown man decision, and they know they got to deal with the consequences.
Yeah, and to all of you, I mean, listening to this, you guys have to understand, you know, collectively we're strong, and if we have people out there crossing the picket lines,
you heard our position.
It really
our position to bargain.
Don't cross.
You know, one message
Honor that picket line.
One message that I would send out to everybody, no matter what industry you're in, we all support each other because we're Teamsters. If you have the numbers, you get what you want. If you show the weakness, that's what the company's looking for. If you do not support the strike line and support your fellow peers, how do you ever expect to get what you want? Exactly. And then you want to turn around and use that phrase, oh, well, the union. No, that is you.
Absolutely.
That's you and your peers.
That's right. We talk about this all the time on the show, you know, how we have the members, you know, tell us, you know, the union doesn't do anything. They're not, you know, what have you done for us? And I'm like, you are the union. Exactly. What are you doing for yourself? Exactly. I mean, we've said this, I don't know how many times on the show, right, George?
We're going to continue to say it until people get it.
Right on. So today, you guys go through some hearings. You guys are letting these guys know that cross the picket line. And not to get into too much detail, obviously, but there are consequences for it. And all of you out there listening, you guys need to understand there is consequences for, you know, crossing the picket line. All right, well, let's get into it. So I want to ask either one of you brothers here, anything going on in your barns, anything you want to talk about?
Just, you know what, at OCTA, Santa Ana base and Garden Grove base, we have shop steward elections coming up next week.
Okay.
You know, I urge the members to get out there and vote, and not vote based on what they hear other people tell them or rumors that they spread. Make an informed decision. That is very important. You know, you definitely want to have somebody who's been there, has a relationship with management, that participates, goes to the meetings. You know, you want somebody who knows the contract. You know, I think this is a time that it's important for us not to take a step back and start all over again.
Right.
I applaud anybody who wants to move up and try to learn to be a shop steward. But my sentiment is, you know what? I don't think this is the right time. That's just my sentiment.
Okay. Anything going on in your barn, brother?
We're getting ready to get a new contractor in June.
Okay. Well, you know, we're going to kind of wind down here a little bit. We kind of want to know a little bit about Al, a little bit about Alizar. Al, I mean, what besides this OCTA, you being on the e-board, what is Al like? What kind of music do you like? What do you
like to do?
Yeah, what do you like to do?
You know what? Of course, I love sports, baseball, basketball, football. I bowl. I love music. You know,
What kind of music do you listen to?
I listen pretty much to everything with the exception of probably metal. So I'm very diverse in my catalog of music because I
feel like that's very Californian.
have
we have a lot of Californians
have DJ
do that.
equipment.
Yeah.
I don't discriminate.
Oh, nice.
And my wife's Hispanic, so guess what? Vicente Fernandez and all
Oh, wow.
So
Right on.
that's it. That's it.
So you get good food, and you get.
You know what? I do majority of cooking.
Oh,
My
okay.
wife can cook.
Okay.
Majority of the good food comes from the places that we like to go to and try something different.
Okay.
I love.
What do you like to cook?
You know what? For me, I'm pretty easy, man. I just like something different. I don't like.
Are you a barbecue guy?
I love the barbecue. I have a smoker. I have a grill.
Nice.
You know, my main thing right now that I've been on is Bidia.
Oh, really?
Oh,
dude.
Bidia, that's where it's at.
And you know what?
And that's a hard thing to do.
Oh yeah,
because
every place is not the same.
No, because it's pretty gamey.
But I got two spots for you. It depends. I don't do the goat. I do the beef.
Okay.
But there's a place on Main Street before you get to right between Warner and between Alton called Poppy's.
Okay.
I don't
Very
think I've
good
ever been
bidding.
there.
And then in East LA, if you take the 710, get off on Cesar Chavez, make a left, go down a few blocks, there's a food truck called Villa Lobos.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've heard of that.
Best bidia I've ever had.
Well, I'm gonna have to take you to one of my spots over here in Santana one day.
Not super bidia, right?
No. This place, no, not super video. This place has been around a very, very long time. I'm gonna have to take you there.
Okay.
And because I love it myself. It's just not too many places. It's right off of First and Rate.
First and okay.
Yeah,
I know
they've
exactly
been around
where
a
it's
long
at.
time.
I know exactly what
you
you're
know.
talking
It's
about.
right next to the post office there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's been there for a long, long time. They have, it's great. So, any other hobbies you have
besides being a slave to 952 majority of the time?
Is that a hobby?
You know what? I like to travel. I like experiencing new things. I think as I've gotten older now, I've become a little more adventurous in things that I'm willing to try and do. You only live once.
That's right.
And we don't work to live.
That's right. How about you, brother? Any hobbies? What do you like to do? What kind of music you like? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
I like cars.
Well, lowriders, right?
Yeah,
Old school cars?
Yeah.
Nice.
Lowriders.
I think you and I have had that discussion.
Yeah.
You've worked on a few, right? In the past,
Yeah.
you've had some cars.
I've had a mini truck back in the day, and I had a 77 Cadillac. Now I have
Okay.
a 93 Cadillac.
Okay.
Nice.
So I was in a car club for,
What was the name of the club?
it's from where I used to live up in Ventura County, where I'm from. It's called Classic Touch.
Okay.
Kick-ass
I
name.
know all about the car clubs.
So-
Did that too.
I
My
was
dad's into
vice
that.
president for, I don't know, about 10 years maybe.
Okay. What kind of music
really
you
cool.
like?
I like
Oldies.
everything.
Oldies.
Oldies.
Bro, come on, say it.
Hip-hop.
Stevie B. Come on.
That's Stevie B.
Say Stevie B. Come on.
You like? I know you like
I
funky
don't-
little
yeah.
beat, right?
Right?
Yeah.
I like Stevie B.
Yeah. I got
I
you.
like funky little beat.
Come on,
Yeah.
come on,
Come on
man.
now.
No, I got you. I
I like a
do.
little bit of country, not a whole
Okay.
lot of it.
We were just talking about this in last episode. As we get a little older, it seems like everybody starts liking country. You know,
Your things change.
Right.
You adapt to things.
Yeah.
cumbia,
Yeah.
Vicente Fernandez.
what's your favorite food? What do you like to eat, bro? Whatever.
Yeah, I'm not really picky.
Right.
Do you
on.
like experimenting with new foods?
Not really, because it looks good and then it doesn't taste good, then I'm disappointed.
I hear you.
Look, I would say that's our other brother that was here earlier with me, Shahab.
Yeah.
He has an exquisite palate.
Well, he's still here off camera. We can't see him, but
Yeah.
you know. Oh, really? Okay. Right on. Right on. Hey, well, you know, we're getting close to end the show here. I want to thank both of you guys. Shahab, taking the time, coming out here, you know, on your day off. You know, come out here. We're doing this to educate the members, you know, get people involved. You know, we want to ask all of you out there, you know, and OCTA, First Transit, you know, share this. Get involved.
Like, subscribe.
Like, subscribe.
Come down to the meetings.
Come to the meetings.
Educate yourself.
Educate yourself. You know, we want to really thank you for taking the time to listen to us. Please share, and like. And any last thoughts from either one of you brothers here before we end the show?
Again, like I said, my final message is, you know what? Get involved. Be active. Don't be the one that says, I don't know.
Exactly.
That's
get involved.
Pretty strong. You can also email us at ocst.000@gmail.com. Leave whatever you want in there. It can be a question, a comment, picture, anything.
Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Smash that subscribe button. We need you guys to share that so we can continue to make this channel grow. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.